This video is brought to you by catbeast.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
There was one song where he said, it's the one with Schoolboy. He says, the righteous will remain righteous and the filthy will remain filthy. In a sense, we're all guilty. So when you stop and think about that, it's like, okay, yeah, innocence, real, okay, whatever. But when you think about the way that line ties in with the whole theme of the album, which I'll get to that in a minute, but the whole idea of do what thou wilt and taking things as they come, not being upset about the outcome of things, they just are what they are. So when he says the righteous will remain righteous, you're just what you are. The filthy will remain filthy, you just what you are. In a sense, we're all guilty. So innocent, guilty, you're still the same shit. Like, there are lines on here where I was just like, Dead End Hip Hop album review, Ab-Soul, Do What Thou Wilt, with a period at the end. Before we get into the review, look, if you have been unintentionally unsubscribed from Dead End Hip Hop, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and support your boys, man. We didn't mean for that to happen. YouTube got something going on with their algorithm. Please go hit that subscribe button if you have been unsubscribed. Also, be on the lookout if you want to become a Patreon. 2017 is going to be really dope. We are going to be more individualistic on Patreon. For every current Patreon subscriber, thank you. We appreciate the support. For all of our 150,000 plus subscribers, we thank you for the support. If you want to support us and you haven't done so in either of those ways, got that mug right there though. Fucking Ab-Soul, bro. Look, he let me down on These Days. On These Days, that last album that we reviewed, I was kind of disappointed with Ab-Soul. So coming into this project, I'm like, this motherfucker better step his damn game up. Cause Schoolboy done dropped some crazy shit. Isaiah done dropped some crazy shit. Kendrick dropped a fucking B-sides that was some crazy shit. Who else? J-Rock dropped some goddamn crazy. All of your brethrens on this label done dropped some crazy shit, motherfucker. And you better not come with These Days again. And when he came out with Huey New as that first single, I said, okay, he ready. He got the memo. This motherfucker, he know he can't fuck up. He know he can't. Look, man, when your squad is balling and you the one guy that when they pass you the ball, you fumbling shit, you gonna be sitting on this bench right here, bro. And I thought it was possible for him to start being on this bench right next to Top. Like, no, we not releasing nothing, bro. We gotta have some conversations. This motherfucker right here, though, this is why I like Ab-Soul, man. This is why I like Ab-Soul. You know, one of the first things that when I went through the album that like really stuck out to me was his Jay-Z influences. Like you hear it every now and again, but on this project, man, like it really stuck out to me because sometimes when people are influenced or whatever, they might take like a whole type of style or something like that or a whole flow and try to make stuff their own. But what Ab did was like he just took the things that I like about Jay-Z, the motherfucking double entendres, the fucking wordplay that you're not gonna get until like 10 listens and you're like, oh, that's what else he fucking meant. Yo, and Ab already does that by himself, but I'm just saying I heard the Jay-Z influence on this shit, man. Like the first one that really, I'm like, nigga, this, if Jay-Z was coming out now and like was still Jay, not influenced by all of this other coonery type shit, Invocation. God, that nigga, that was Jay-Z to a T. That track was crazy, but going to the beginning, raw backwards on all you rappers, on all you fucking whack-ass rappers. Man, look, Ab-Soul came for, Ab-Soul talked about a lot in this project, man. He talked about these whack rappers. He had some crazy bars. He had a underlying tone of womanism and kind of bigging up women and having you think differently about, you know, how women have been treated in this country. You know what I'm saying? How they always
not just the country, just throughout
history. Throughout history. You know, like, is it his story or her story? You know what I'm saying? Is God a woman? You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff, man, like they couldn't vote before the, you know what I'm saying? They voted after the black man. You know what I'm saying? So just a whole bunch of little other underlying tones and stuff like that. But I think for me, man, what really made me love this album is, like, first and foremost was the production. this shit was out there, and I appreciate that. I truly appreciate it.
Got an edge to it.
It definitely had an edge to it. But man, to start off with Raw, then go to Braille, then Huey Knew. Like, that's one of my favorite songs on here. And then he goes to Threatening Nature, and I saw the interview he had on Sway regarding, and they were talking about this. He got Razcast on the phone. So to hear like how he was influenced by Raz, and then he was breaking down the lyrics to this stuff. Like when Sway was like, bars. You know what I'm saying?
Because Raz used to be spitting some shit. That's why.
Overhead.
And then
For 96, when what? 96, 95, whatever it was.
96.
Went totally over people's
Because I
heads.
think one of the things that they used to say about him was that he could rap his ass off, but the production seemed to be lacking.
He had that Nas syndrome.
Yeah.
But I had no problem with his production.
I didn't either.
He had that West Coast, not really high road type of production, but he had that West Coast production.
He could
for the time.
rap,
Man,
and
he
that's
could rap.
all that mattered.
Yep.
So I thought Threatening Nature was dope, man. If you haven't, go watch that Sway interview, because the way Ab-Soul breaks it down, you know what I'm saying? Like his hypothesis is that the chicken came before the egg. Invocation, like I like how, if you just look at how he worded it, right? Like IN is capital, because he's saying like he's in his vocation right now. You know what I'm saying? And then one of the hardest lines, man, I was talking about like the whole double entendre Jay-Z shit, was when he said, and he has a whole bunch, but the one that stuck out to me, when he says a criminal's best asset is his liability. Nigga, I damn near dropped my fucking phone on the plane, dog. I was like, yo, this nigga, like, and he has a whole bunch of that type of shit. Nigga, look, like I said, this shit is still, a lot of this stuff is still going over my head. This album is super dope. I fuck with this. I think my favorite joint is Beat the Case with Schoolboy. Like Schoolboy, and we said this, Schoolboy is the feature assassin, bro. This motherfucker, you put him on a feature, god damn, you better come with your A game, bro. This shit heavily bumps in the whip. Heavily bumps in the whip.
I like this shit too, man. I'm glad that Ab-Soul, it seems like it's like he knew we were, like people were talking
he
about
has.
these,
Yeah,
like about these days, like people, he knew, and I really felt with this album going, I had a feeling this was gonna be good. It's like certain points or certain albums, like, okay, well, like you said, everyone been dropping some dope shit. We all been praising their albums every time they come out with some stuff. So it's like, I had a feeling when I heard Huey, that was the only single I heard. I think he released like two or three. I was like, no, I'm gonna wait for the album.
Yeah,
So,
that's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, so once it started off with Raw, I'm like, man, he calling out Jay Electronica. And I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Jay
love that.
Troy Ave, like he's saying names, man. That's what I'm talking about. When he started this project off with Raw Backwards, man, I was like,
On all you rappers, you gotta say
all you rappers. Raw Backwards
on all you rappers. You can't just say Raw Backwards.
Right. But yeah, the way he started off, I'm like, okay, yes. I mean, this album started off I was just like, oh my fucking God. Just like you, I'm like, man, I still have to listen to this and process everything that this dude is like saying, because Ab-Soul is that good of an MC to where he's gonna say some shit where I'm gonna go back 3 months later and be like, damn, like that's what he meant for there. So I really wish we had more time to sit with this album. But yeah, it started off then Braille. I thought Braille was dope. Huey, of course, Huey knew. I knew that one. Threatening Nature, I thought that was really interesting because he kind of flipped the name from Razcast album, Soul on Ice, Nature
Of the Threat.
Of the Threat, yeah. Thanks, Mike. Nature of the Threat. So I thought that was really, I didn't see the interview though, but when I saw that parallel to him, you know, inspiration from Razcast, I'm like, damn, that shit dope. And I'm like, damn, start the production. I thought that was one of the tracks where the production was like, shit, like that shit was crazy. And Beat the Case with Schoolboy and that beat switch up.
Yeah,
shit
beat
was
switch up is crazy.
so damn dope, man. It's like Ab-Soul is really good at giving you those topics about religion, women. His subject matter is so crazy, and I like how he kind of used lines from certain Control songs or whatever, like you know, what's that motherfucking government, motherfucker the system. Like
that was cool.
It ain't the same like where you be like, oh, he talked about this shit already. He's still finding ways to be creative and kind of come at a different angle, which I love. So yeah.
And when he said Bohemian, it was Bohemian Grove.
It's Bohemian Grove, not Groove, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because everyone knows that Control was definitely like the album that we all love to death. So for him to still kind of get pieces from that, I think that's still dope, man. Lonely Soul with Punch, I thought that was dope, man. Punch need to hurry up and drop something, man. Cause every time,
crazy.
Yes, it was, man. Like
we could rock in the back, yes.
Yeah, Punch, what are you doing, man? Like hurry up and release an album, man. And Drugs is another one of my favorite tracks. Like how he kind of talks about you know, him loving the people in his life just as much as drugs. Cause like I think Mike said it earlier, like he referenced drugs a lot throughout this album too. So it's I mean overall, man, this album was good. I like I said, I had a feeling that he was gonna come back and really knock it out the park with this album, and he did. He really did, man. I'm still, like I said, I'm still gonna be dissecting this and be like, oh snap, like shit. Now you made me want to check out that interview he did with Sway. But yeah, it's like, man, yeah, so you did it.
Yeah, I loved it on the first listen. I think when I looked at the length of how long the album actually runs, I was like,
you're a little concerned. Yeah.
Hour and 17 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
And where that becomes a problem for, at least for me, is that we got to review it.
Mm-hmm.
So that means we got to listen to it multiple times. You start to add that shit. Like if you guys really added that up, yeah. So guys, this is some damn work when we be reviewing some of these albums. That's why we haven't done another Tech 9.
Yeah,
True.
Facts.
Yeah, no disrespect.
So I was listening to it, man, and I was like, you know, I liked it on the first listen.
Mm-hmm.
You knew Al was saying some shit, but it was like when I stopped trying to figure out what he was saying, because you guys didn't even talk about the album title itself. You know, how and do what thou wilt, and how that ties into the law of love. Love is
the law. Love under will.
Yeah, and then you take that, apply that to the theme of the underlying theme of woman.
Right. This shit is deep, bro.
Bruh.
Like this shit is undeniably deep, bro.
It is.
And how women has that the love, man, come on, man.
It's deep.
Like how they just love sometimes unconditionally. So that's something within itself
yeah.
that you just gotta like you guys said, you just gotta really just sit down and really like digest that. When I removed all of that and didn't want to even think about that, the conclusion, I was just like, this is just straight fucking fire. Like I said on Snapchat, the Khaleesi Dragon motherfucking fire, man. Because this shit, like when you just listen to him fucking rapping, the fucking beats,
he's hungry.
and everything, it's like he like you guys said, he heard y'all motherfuckers talking shit. He heard y'all talking shit like Al didn't have it.
Like that was a good sports analogy he used. Like,
Yeah, he was like, okay.
You don't want to be on that bench.
All right, I'm gonna show y'all motherfuckers.
Yep.
And he came out and he showed y'all motherfuckers like, don't fucking sleep. I'm one of the illest on fucking TDE, and I'm gonna prove it. And then I can out rap motherfuckers in my circle and all y'all motherfucking whack rappers. And I love that on Raw backwards on all you rappers. Like I love that he said, "Get all you whack rappers out of here." I love that he took that stand. And I hear that whack shit now, bro. Yeah, I love it, man, because we need more. We need motherfuckers that know how to rap to take a motherfucking stand and be like, "Yo, get that fucking whack shit out of here, and let's focus on fucking rapping." The thing about this project, it has a real dark, samey sound to it, but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
And it's like when you
Because
really
he has breaks in it and stuff. Like it's little stuff that.
but the tempo doesn't kind of really change
It's
that
dark.
much.
It's dark throughout, and I think that underlying thing is what you're calling samey, but like production.
It's not a negative though.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not. But I wouldn't call it samey though. I don't think it was samey.
It's got the same feeling.
Yeah.
The same like weird tension, dark tension
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, I think maybe the samey is not a great word.
How the fuck do you pull that shit off? For an hour and a 17-minute
that was
long
impressive.
album?
Yeah.
That was impressive.
Like what the?
Without it getting boring.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because y'all know
Because I was
y'all know me with
worried.
short
I was
albums.
really worried when I
Y'all
saw
know I love short albums.
Like, what?
And I think each song kind of lives on its own in this weird sort of way, and I think that may have had something to do with it too. But the different we haven't even talked about the rapping though. Talk about the fucking rapping. Like this nigga rapping his fucking ass off. So he does a good job of keeping the album interesting with the content, the beats, and everything. Like I know y'all weren't rocking with I rock with these days, but I'm not gonna argue with anybody that didn't. But it don't even matter. This is the return of Ab-Soul to a lot of y'all motherfuckers. And he came with that fucking heat. And this is what we love about TDE is that everybody's out trying to outdo each other. And when that happens, you get shit like this. And if other rappers out there would look at them and try to beat them, imagine the high quality shit we would fucking get. I mean, I didn't even get into like all the other stuff that's on here. Just from a pure listening perspective of just, like, I just sat down and put on the fucking beats and just got lost in it, just listened to him fucking rap. And was like, man, this shit was fucking great.
So I only heard the one single, Huey Knew Then. And I was like, okay, this is actually pretty cool. I wasn't blown away by it, but I was like, I like this. This is a dark beat. I like the way he's rhyming. It's fresh. First of all, let me say real quick, I was actually really interested because of the album title, which all I saw was DWTW. And I was just like, okay, I thought that was the name of the album until it dropped. I was like, oh, Do What Thou Wilt. I was like, interesting. So I was like, is he a fan of Crowley? And then shout out to Premrock, he was talking about it on Twitter, and I was like, yeah, I wonder if he's actually gonna get into the whole Thelema idea. So when it started with Raw Backwards and All You Rappers, and he's just spitting bars, I'm like, okay, this shit's dope. Braille, okay, this shit dope. I already knew Huey Knew Then was dope. Threatening Nature, I liked that song, but it was confusing. I'll say why in a few minutes. Invocation, I loved. Dark ass beat, the way he was rhyming was just, the horns in that beat were just nasty. And he's like, if I OD before I wake, I pray that I resurrect with a hangover on the third day. I'm like, damn, this shit, I love this shit.
Started it like on each one saying, like, he was spelling out Allah.
Yeah.
And then and
Allah, the G-O-D. I don't know if you caught that either. I was like, this motherfucker here is actually dope. Beat the Case was easily my favorite song on the whole album. And it's not just because of Schoolboy. I just love the way they play off each other. I think Schoolboy and Ab, I feel like they play off each other the best because they've both been in that same spot. Because people doubted Schoolboy for a while after Habits of Contradictions. They were just like, I don't think he can resurrect that. And he did. So yeah, that song.
Off-kilter artists.
That too. They're the two most, in my opinion, they're the two most creative lyrically and verse-wise. Not necessarily concept-wise, but
Because they know how to talk on the track and come right back in it. Like, like smooth.
Like there's no problem.
They never even stopped in the middle of rapping and then come back on. Like
you stepped away from the beat and then came back to the beat. Like the beat was never really there. But at the same time, the beat was always in the background. Drugs showed that Ab-Soul can make a very catchy song, and that's not what he's known for, at least not for me. I go to Ab-Soul for some really creative bars. I don't go to him for hooks. I don't go to him for a song that I'm gonna be like, okay, it's gonna get stuck in my head. Drugs does that easily. I love drugs. love, I don't give a fuck. I love that song. I don't care if my voice is off. And Evil Genius, that dark ass, airy, atmospheric beat and the outro of that song, gorgeous. Fucking gorgeous.
Instrumental.
Yes, at the very end of it. It was just like, what's the purpose of this? But it's dope. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know why you did this, but it's dope as fuck. Now, the only, and this isn't a gripe, but the only thing that I found to be a little confusing, there were certain ideas and themes that didn't really connect. Either they were too loose to really fit together for the layman, or they just simply went over my head. But when I'm listening to this album, I always feel like, okay, that can't be what it means. It has to have a separate meaning. So like on Wifey versus Wi-Fi, I don't know if you guys remember that song, but he's talking about the dude, and the guy's talking about his mom. And then he's like, okay, when you're looking at the phone and you're dialing MOM, it says 666. Okay, was that really just it? Like, was there a bigger point to that? Or was it just that this guy is saying his mom is evil? Was there something deeper than that? Or is that just it? So that line kind of confused me. Then when you get to Threatening Nature, there were a couple things on there that I found to be confusing. The whole, I mean all disrespect, but the flag was created by fags. Okay, so when I heard that, y'all know how I'm like, so when I heard the interview, I was like, okay, I finally want to hear what he's gonna say about this because it's confusing and it doesn't really make any sense to me. All he said was, well, back in the day, they wore wigs and they had them crop pants. I'm like, that can't be it.
That was it?
That can't be it. So I'm like, maybe there's something that I missed because that just seems like there was that line was put there for a reason. That's what I want to think. Then also in that song, he also says something about Adam is a molecule, but Adam was a maricon. And then at the end, he says, until he took the leaves off of Eve and saw that ass. And I'm like, okay, so what's the bigger point of that line? There's no way you're really saying that Adam was gay until he saw Eve naked. That's not what you're saying. Is he saying that if Adam had not committed the original sin, that we would still be living this sinless, boring life? And if that's the case, then what's the point of calling him a maricon? Which we all know what maricon is. It's faggot in Spanish. Right. So what is this underlying idea of these people being gay or faggot? I don't understand. So that really confused me. Is this stuff supposed to be looked at surface level? Is there a deeper meaning behind these lines that I'm just not getting? If I'm thinking about it too hard, it's not my fault. It's Ab-Soul's fault because he presented this album this way, and I can't take these lines at surface level. I mean, I loved this album, but it's one of those albums where I'm just like, the more I sit with it, unlike y'all, the more I sit with it, the more confused I am, because I keep picking out more lines and I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck does he actually mean by that? I did like the fact that he does talk about the idea of, God is a woman, the whole we were voting before black women, or before women could vote, whatever. That was a cool idea. And I did see a couple of people on Twitter that were arguing about, well, he's still talking about fucking women, and you'd have the song Woman-Nogamous. Woman-Nogamous, yes. So you have that song where I don't take that as a misogynistic song. A lot of people think that if you respect women and you love women, that means you can't enjoy them sexually, and that's not the case. I don't think that he's necessarily sexually objectifying women. He's flat out saying, only women. I like sex. And there's nothing wrong with that. The only other thing, I'll be quick, the only other thing that really did confuse me was the Thelema idea. I feel like if you're gonna name your album Do What Thou Wilt, which is one of Aleister Crowley's most famous lines, I didn't really get a solid takeaway of how that related. Do what thou wilt, love is a law, love under will, love is the only law, whatever. I didn't really understand what the point was with naming that something that relates to Thelema, but not really relating your album to that. So that was a little bit of a letdown, because when I saw that was the actual title, I was like, oh, this should be really interesting. And yeah, it was dark. And yes, he did make a couple of Crowley references, but it didn't seem enough in order to justify a title like that. Because there's a lot of ideas with Thelema that you can relate in a hip hop album that I think would be really interesting. The whole idea of, like I said, doing what thou wilt, doing what you want, regardless of consequences. I didn't really get that from this album. This album just seemed to be about the idea of big upping women, and I just don't see how that related. The whole idea of Thelema with focusing on nature and instincts as opposed to deities, or as opposed to following blindly. If this deity says do this, you go do that. That's the antithesis of what Thelema is. So I kind of thought that maybe he would bring that into this album, but I didn't get it. And I'm not saying this is Ab-Soul's fault. This could be just over my head. So I'm genuinely asking people that are watching this, can you connect this for me? How does this album relate to Thelema? And how does it relate to Crowley? I heard him say, I like Crowley, and Crowley had some great ideas, but he didn't explain how that related to this album. That's all I'm saying. So outside of that, this is a great album. I loved it. I loved digging into it. I loved hearing these lines that I had to stop and think about and be like, damn, what did that actually mean? Is there another meaning for that, or am I overthinking it? So yeah, great album.
Man, if you watching, bro, I know somebody over there watching. I know somebody watching. But nah, for real, like what Mike was just saying, first and foremost, thank you, Ab-Soul, for coming back and not, not having Top to pull that coach card and put you on the bench right next to him. I'm glad you came with a album that you needed to come with. You had to come out with something crazy because that's the type of artist that you are. But I'm definitely interested to see what you do moving forward and the rest of the camp. But I would definitely love for you, you know what I'm saying, whether it's over the internet, come in person whenever you're in Atlanta, or shit, if we're ever, all of us or the majority of us in LA, you know what I'm saying, or in Cali, because I know you're from Carson. Yeah, or just wherever, man, like we could make it happen. I would definitely love for Dead End Hip Hop to be able to sit down and you break down some of this stuff and tie some of these things in together. Obviously, we've listened to it for, what is it, about a week now? Nigga.
Yeah, like I said,
help me out, man. Help all of us out, bro. Because there's some things in here that's just we don't know how it ties in. But overall, like, shit, dope, my nigga. Thank you, appreciate it, man.
Thank you for this album. It really seems like you back in your groove now, man, with this album. You know, so yes, great job. I don't know what else to say. Shit, just do you, man? But no, yeah, seriously though, yeah, good job with the album.
Thank you for, you know, I think there's something to be said about, you know, making an album that's heady, but still people just like to fucking just hear you fucking rap. You know, because I think depending on who you are, you can kind of get the best of both worlds. Like you could just listen to it just for the sake of listening to him rap, and then you can listen to it for much deeper meanings. And I think for me, I enjoy being able to do both, because in the beginning, you know, seeing the album title and everything like that, trying to figure out like what all of that means and listening to this. But then after just removing all of that and just listen to you just rap and the beats and everything else, just even made it gave me a different feeling. So I think to be able to get a little bit of both was dope. And that's what I like about you as a rapper, man, because you say some shit, but you also rap and say it well and put over some dope ass beats. Fourth quarter, man, is a good way to close out the year with a dope ass project.
Nothing from me to tell you to improve on. I love this project. I don't want you to take my confusion for dislike. It's the exact opposite. Because I like your music so fucking much, I really want to understand it. And there's a lot of themes on here that, like I said, are either too loose to connect or they're just simply over my head. But yeah, like Fivo said, I love for you to, in some fashion, go a little bit deeper and explain some of these theories and these ideas and these themes to the average person. Keep being thought-provoking. Keep making smart people and dumb people stop and be like, damn, what the fuck is he talking about? Because we don't get a lot of that in hip-hop. We get a lot of what the fuck did that dude just say? But we never really get a lot of what did he say? Like, what is he saying?
Because I really want to know.
Because I really want to know.
Right.
Because I know it's not what I think it is. There's something else there. So, yeah, thank you, Absol, for making a great album and ending the year in a good way.